Gotta be fucking kidding.
Here's the first movie.
Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Peel that pig and slice him thick.
The body count is always bigger.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
And the fucking trees walked in those movies.
Hi, doggy.
What a story, Mark.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled.
It's just like your opinion, man.
Life moves pretty fast.
If you want your sequel to become a franchise.
37 dicks.
In a row?
I'm your number one fan.
G'day, ladies and gents. Welcome back to Marathon Me with your host, Kane.
And Rhys.
And today, we're continuing on in our Omen retrospective. We're looking at a film that I didn't even know existed. I'm sure you didn't know existed, Rhys, right?
When in this story of me finding the Omen trilogy at JB Hi-Fi and DVD and then getting into it, I remember that there was an Omen anthology box set right next to it in the JB Hi-Fi at the time. But my mum was like, "No, we don't need that. We don't need that. We'll get the trilogy instead." And since then, it has been a relic in my memory of knowing that it exists, but being told to ignore that it exists. And
now, why is that? Why is that? Is it just because this is a made-for-TV movie? Is that it? Is this just unfair stigma against made-for-TV movies? I don't know.
Well, my mum hadn't even seen it. She just knew not to really pay attention to it. And having watched it now, funnily enough, like we're watching these cursed movies, right? I would argue that this movie, Omen IV: The Awakening, is potentially the most cursed out of this Omen franchise so far. And you know what it's cursed with, Kane? You know what it's cursed with?
What is it cursed with, Rhys?
Boredom. Explicit, excruciating boredom this movie is.
Ooh, really?
Oh my god. I did not like my time with Omen IV: The Awakening.
Now answer me this. Would you say that the boredom, does it overpower the boredom of part 2 by any chance?
Oh, 110% in my opinion.
Interesting.
So yeah, you mentioned that this is a TV movie, the Omen IV: The Awakening, where
you can tell.
Yeah, you can definitely tell where. So to put everyone up to speed, at this point in the continuity of this franchise, Damien is sadly dead. Our antichrist is in the grave, and we have our new sort of harvester of evil, which is Delia. And Delia is the offspring of Damien, and now has a new set of adopted parents. And there's something a bit weird with this kid. You know, it's the same sort of fare. She's around like 8 years old though here, so a little bit older than Damien in the first one, but not as old as Damien in the second one. And it seems pretty normal, standard, like you described Damien the Omen 2 as like the poor man's Omen. This is the bankrupt man's Omen, in my opinion, where it just is the most hollow version of the Omen that we have seen so far. And it starts just being boring and empty. And then it goes into really fucking strange directions, and it ends up that Delia isn't really the Antichrist. There's something else beneath that, even. But we'll save that for later, and we'll just give you a little bit of a taste of the trailer of Omen IV: The Awakening.
Damien Thorn is dead, but his prophecy is about to be reborn. Omen IV: The Awakening.
Is that the girl?
Behind her sweet smile
Get her away from me!
lies a dangerous secret.
Do you think it's possible for a child to be born evil?
Now, a reign of darkness is about to be unleashed.
What evil made you do that?
Omen IV: The Awakening. The nightmare has just begun.
I I was not looking forward to watching this. Like, I was not excited whatsoever. But I still went in with a tiny bit of an open mind because, like, I wasn't excited to go in to see Omen 3. Ended up loving it because it's a genuinely good movie. Now, is this a good movie? No. I can agree with you that it does feel like the bankrupt man's Omen because it's. I said to Nicholas a couple nights ago that this just feels like The Omen, but just with a female protagonist instead. It's like if Paul Feig watched this movie and decided to then, you know, make Ghostbusters with all female cast. This was his inspiration. This is just The Omen, but with a girl instead.
And even the primary parent that they follow is like the mom instead of the dad. So yeah, I sort of get you.
I actually really like that part though, with making the mum more the primary protagonist rather than the dad. I thought that was kind of neat. But anyways, but I digress. Anyways, this is a bad movie, yes. So why did I have a great time watching it? Why did I really like this movie? Now, and I don't mean...
Really? I so jealous.
Now, the thing is, I do not think that this is a good movie, but... Holy fucking shit, I had a laugh right watching this. Every 5 minutes, I was fucking laughing my ass off. I had such a great time watching this, I'm not gonna lie. I feel so sad that you were just, like, overcome with boredom, man, because I was having a blast watching this, fam.
I am so jealous of you right now. There were moments where I thought maybe if I was watching this with someone... sorry, I just choked on my own tongue. If I was watching this with someone, I would be enjoying it so much more. But
definitely.
But really, it's an ironic title with it being called The Awakening because I just wanted to fall asleep during this entire thing. Like, oh my God. I am so upset, and this is not a good solo watch for me. I have no even slight interest in watching this again, sadly. And I was so ready to be surprised by it because of how surprising Omen 3 The Final Conflict was. So
yeah, no, definitely.
Also, I do have to say this too. Finding this movie was very, very difficult, and I'm so glad that we didn't spend the $17 to rent it or something.
Yeah, honestly, like you would have wanted to fucking die, and I wouldn't have been happy either. Like, fucking hell.
Yeah, I'm very, very glad that I didn't. It was only on the 5th stream that I was able to find of this movie that it was not in Russian. For some reason...
Yeah, okay, so you watched it on the same site that we watched Omen 3 on,
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I had the same fucking issue, bro.
There are a million versions of this movie on this website, but all in Russian. Besides the one needle in the haystack of Omen IV The Awakening in English.
Oh my fucking God. Yeah, dude, I had to like skim through so many fucking streams trying to find like dialogue so I could see like, is this dubbed? Is this in English? And then I just keep hitting Russian dub. And then also, I'll say this as well. The process of watching this was a bit hellish though, because the stream kept lagging. My computer kept like overheating. I think it took, the movie's only like an hour and a half. It took me maybe like 2.5 hours to get through the fucking movie and all that shit. Oh my God. So honestly, I'm surprised that I enjoyed it as much, considering the hellish conditions I had to watch it under.
Well, that's why you enjoyed it. Being in hellish conditions is extremely immersive for an Omen movie.
That is true. That is true, Rhys.
Okay, so I want to hear, before I go in, like, breaking and pulling this movie apart, I want to hear the good things that you have to say about, like, what bits did you find hilarious? Because I can sort of see where you're coming from, but a lot of it just didn't meet me there enough, and yeah, just left me cold the whole time. So what did you find hilarious?
Well, I'll say my favorite, the funniest part of this movie, my favorite thing about this movie is the music.
Yes! Oh my God.
Love this fucking coming, like, I said to Nicholas as well, and I thought this to myself during the opening, this music, you know how like in the openings of especially Omen 1, it feels kind of very like Days of Our Lives, very like soap opera-esque.
Yes.
The music in the opening of this felt like I was watching like fucking something by Spielberg or like Indiana Jones or some shit. It felt way too grandiose and whimsical. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? What is this? And I'm thinking like, okay, it's just the opening. But as the movie keeps going on, we keep getting like more, we keep getting like less horror adjacent music. We get like maybe like, we get like a little bit of the Omen main theme during like near the start of the movie and at the very end. Oh, pardon me, I'm dying right now.
Delia is not liking you talking shit about the inconsistencies of this soundtrack.
Exactly. I can only imagine what she's going to do to you when you start shitting on this movie.
Exactly. I'm trying to protect myself.
But the whole movie just keeps playing this weird fucking whimsical, almost like kind of like music that you hear in like a coming of age John Hughes movie or a Spielberg movie. Especially the scene set in when they're at kindergarten when she's getting chased by the bully and you get all like the kids laughing at him when he pisses himself and you got this kind of like quirky whimsical music. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But at the same time, I'm like, this is so fucking funny. I can't hate this. This is not a horror movie. This is a comedy. This is a fucking comedy right now.
And how inconsistent is it with using like the original themes from the Omen 1, and I think it credits that it's from the original Omen and the Omen 3. And then they mix it with this freaking Disney Channel original score. And near the end of this film, in like the final 10 minutes, a woman gets shot to death and killed, and a xylophone plays her death off.
Yes!
Like,
oh my god, bro! I lost my fucking shit when the xylophone went off. I went fucking bananas for that shit, dog. Honestly,
man, I just love the thought of I lost my shit at the xylophone, bro. It went nuts.
It went fucking hard, dog. It went fucking hard, cuz. It
did though,
insane.
man. I totally agree. Also, another music cue that stands out in my memory is when there's this sort of there's a scene with the parents, Karen and Jean, talking, and Jean is trying to comfort Karen and says something along the lines of, "When we do anything, we'll do it together," and then cues this like sitcom music.
Was this when they're in the snow and they're like hugging?
Yes, that's exactly it.
Oh my god, yeah.
And I'm like, what am I watching right now? This isn't in the same, because it's not as like it's consistent in the first in the original Omen movie when they show you that like in like it's like 10 minutes straight of this sort of a light-hearted score that underpins the film that we're watching, but that's like trying to say and do something, right? It's trying to say that these people's lives are perfect at this point.
Picturesque almost. Yeah,
and then it shifts and it doesn't go back to that. Where this movie throughout goes Disney Channel Omen theme, Disney Channel Omen theme, it like just back and forth, and it's so tonally inconsistent the entire film.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh no, definitely. Like this definitely feels like, I mean, it doesn't help that this is a made for TV movie, but this definitely feels like the most like soap opera-esque of all the Omen movies and all that. Obviously TV movie, blah blah blah, can't help that whole, connection, but still, like it feels like the most like I'm watching like fucking Neighbours or something, and then occasionally some weird fucking kill or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, oh my lord. And then also, oh my god, yeah, sorry, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, and then just out of nowhere, the metaphysics carnival just bursts into flames. Like there's, but then it goes back to a soap opera.
Legit. But I think I gotta say the most horrifying scene in the movie is when the nanny comes in. Also, it's just what the fuck is going on? Like in this movie, the antichrist takes on its most toughest rival yet: alternative medicine and healing crystals. Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Did a Facebook mom direct this? What the fuck is that? Man, and then the crystals turn black.
Oh my!
Horrifying, bro.
I love when she opens the drawer. All the crystals are black, and she's like, "Oh no, all of them have turned black." Yes, we know.
Come on, man.
You showed us this.
Oh, dude, actually, you know how you just mentioned that she's like just stating to the audience like my crystals are black. That's one thing about this movie as well, is that it just loves to tell what the audience already knows. The biggest example I can think of is when Karen is confronting the doctor, and it's like, Delia is the daughter of the devil, and then just goes into like a 5-minute like exposition dump of like, you guys have been manipulating me, and you guys impregnated me with the spawn of the devil when I was in hospital. It's like, yes, we know.
Yeah.
You fucking idiot. What the fuck?
I think that must be a complete TV movie symptom, right? Because a TV movie expects audiences to switch over at any point, and if you tune in half an hour through, for you to sort of still get what's going on, right?
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
Oh no, still terrible. Still an awful viewing experience.
Yeah. But like, I get what you mean and all that though.
Okay, I love that you. Okay, let's talk about this angle of alternative medicine and crystals and metaphysics. I think that this is really interesting that they introduced this here. Where so pretty much around like the 20-minute to half an hour mark is when we get our nanny introduced in this one, and she right away is like. She has this crystal around her neck that she talks about how it's a healing crystal, and Delia hates this. She's like, oh no, and then it turns black, and then so what it's trying to do as well is that this nanny is apparently she already has a belief that Delia is not okay, right? She already is predisposed to thinking that there's something not quite right with this kid. Then takes her to the metaphysics carnival or whatever the fuck it is. And it starts with this the first 2 minutes at this carnival is essentially just a montage of all the different types of alternative, like, metaphysical stuff that there is. Did you notice how it's like a 2-minute random montage that will just show us little excerpts? And I'm like, man, we get it, we're at a metaphysics carnival. You don't need to now show us the fortune teller. Now show us the tarot reader.
If the carnival didn't end up getting set ablaze, I would have thought that I would have assumed that this was a real carnival that just paid for advertising. Like that, like, and if it wasn't for it getting burnt down, then I would have assumed that this was like a full-on fucking 2-minute ad. But yes, I did notice that, like, it goes on way too fucking long. But I was also kind of like pointing and laughing at like some of the funny faces they were making, and just how weird some of them were looking. And then also like just the reactions that they were having to Delia, which is so fucking just over the top. It's just like, all right, boys, chill, Jesus. Her negative organs are through the fucking charts or some shit, Jesus. I'm not too tuned into this sort of stuff because I'm not the biggest subscriber of the sort of spiritual, metaphysical organization like that. But when they have like the aura photo and it's just like this darkness, it's and how the babysitter just like grabs Delia and it's like, we're taking your photo. It's so awkward, and the whole this whole scene is so strangely put together, and but at least it's consistent with the rest of the movie that the whole film moves in such an awkward pace. Did you notice that? Just how it's edited together is... Yeah, it's bizarre. It's bizarre. Like, we didn't even fucking mention the 20 solo minutes of this just random detective story that just happens near the tail end of the movie.
Oh man, we'll get to that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll get to that. But yes, it the pacing wise felt all fucking over the place and all that shit. Also, just like, they just kept doing like the jumps in time as well. Like, they did one jump in time, which is like, okay, fair enough. They did that in the first Omen movie, but then they do it again, and I didn't even pick up on it. I'm like, wait a minute, she's supposed to be older now. What the fuck's going on? What is this pacing right now, boys? What the fuck?
You know what I noticed this movie does, or probably rather does not do, is it doesn't for a single moment take its time and let tension set in. It's always
not at all.
Just moving on to the next thing. Thing complete, let's move on, is how this whole thing is done. Like another example is the hospital scene where where Karen is giving birth to this child, right? And it's so quick. It's just it just shoots through the scene and then it fades to black and then holds on just a black screen for like 4 seconds. And it's
it cuts commercials, man.
True. That's exactly what it would have been. But then in this cut that we're watching, right, where because obviously they sold it on DVD and things like that. Get rid of those 4 seconds of black unless it's intentional. It moves so freaking awkwardly, this entire film. It's so just matter of fact, this is what's happening next. So strange.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man, definitely.
So,
can I ask you real quick, was there anything that you genuinely enjoyed about this?
I thought that I was liking some of the original ideas here in the realm of. I was actually very intrigued that they're introducing the whole like alternative medicine, metaphysical, angle to this because that is something that exists in our world, right? And
we've also never seen that before in an Omen movie.
Yeah,
so
it hasn't been
kinda
touched on in this universe that the Omen is showing us.
Yeah.
And because we've always gotten a very religious angle to it all, right? Instead of a sort of spiritual angle. So I liked that was put out there, but then when it's introduced in such a sort of ridiculous, oh my god, all the crystals are black sort of way, in the first 2 minutes of this concept being introduced, that is what happens and what is told to the audience. So it's just nowhere near as effective as I thought it would be.
We can at least applaud the film for attempting it, but execution-wise, it's fucking all over the place.
And I was very intrigued around this sort of halfway mark of what weird directions it could go in because they introduced this very strange concept that is weird to talk about, but like Delia gets like her period at 8 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, okay, this is very strange, but must be very intentional. How are they going to bring this in now? And
they never touch on it from what I remember.
And they don't.
Again.
I thought that what they were going to do, because here's another strange thing that they do with this movie, is that Delia actually isn't the Antichrist. She is a twin that her twin brother is inside of her. And like sort of like this not fetus, but like what's the word that I'm looking for here?
Like
embryo? Yeah. There's this embryo of her brother that is the Antichrist inside of her. I thought that's a bit of a cop-out because it's like, why can't Delia just be the Antichrist?
Why can't a girl be the Antichrist?
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Exactly.
What the fuck?
Exactly. And they even do say, they have this scene where like the priest is telling Karen that it's like the Bible isn't gender specific. Mankind can mean womankind as well.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's great. That is giving context to why Delia can be the Antichrist. But no, she has this embryo of her brother inside of her, which then the film tells us the doctor, who is a disciple of the Antichrist, takes this embryo out of her and plants it in her mother, Karen, who then grows this child and then gives birth to the new Antichrist.
It's like you couldn't have. It's like audiences in the early 90s were not ready for a female Antichrist. You should have just committed to the fucking Delia being the Antichrist and all that. I could have bought that. That was fine. Because I'll say this, one thing I genuinely enjoyed about this, I thought the kid that played Delia was actually pretty good.
Yeah,
like she made for a good, like, you know, just like little bratty kid that I believe would be the Antichrist. Also, she had a creepy look to her. She looked off-putting and all that. No offense to the kid and all that, but she looked very off-putting, which like works really well in the film. But she's not the fucking Antichrist. She's just, you know what she is? She's just a fucking kid on the spectrum, pretty much. She has no,
yes.
She has trouble socializing, anger outbursts, is really attached to her dog. Like this kid is just fucking, Delia's just is autistic coded. That's just it. What the fuck?
Well, you know that is actually what I think, like, the film isn't directly, like, telling us, but the film is telling us this because they are ultimately telling us that she is not the Antichrist. She actually, I think that these evil things happening around are actually just the demonic, evil, satanic presence inside of her brother that just happens to be inside of her. So she is just a normal child.
She's like a conduit for all these evil fucking.
She's a conduit for the conduit.
Exactly.
Which really, when he leaves, she is not. She's just a normal kid.
Yeah, which is really sucks, honestly. Like the fuck that twist, honestly. I didn't see it coming, but like doesn't make it good.
Well, I would have been very surprised if you could see coming. You know what? I think that she is the embryo of a brother that is actually the Antichrist in her, which will then be implanted into her mom. If you guessed that, I would have been extremely impressed.
I would have. I don't know how I'd react if I guessed that right. I would have, I don't know, gone to Harvard or something, have people study my brain or some shit, I
immediately thought, what an idea ahead of its time. Very reminiscent of Poor Things, with, like, the implanting of, like, the brain of an unborn child into its mother's head. Like that. That's what it immediately made me think of. This strange, weird, sort of incestuous implanting that it just makes you think, how does this relationship dynamic work now? Very, very weird. Like, with this almost being like the child of her child being implanted in her. It's so fucking weird, man.
The Omen IV, the Poor Things of the Omen franchise.
The Poor Things of the 90s. That's what we needed to see.
The Poor Things of the 90s, exactly. It may be better than Poor Things.
I
don't know. Are you ready for that conversation?
I don't think better than Poor Things. I'm sorry to say.
By the way, audiences, that was a joke. Poor Things is a banger of a movie, and Omen 4 is a banger of a movie as well. Banger of a comedy. Anyways, do continue.
So you enjoyed this more than Omen 2?
Yes. Oh, definitely.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Because like Omen 2, as stated in our episode, it presents good ideas and has interesting concepts, but it doesn't follow through with any of it, and it's just completely. And like my feelings towards this movie, like towards Omen 2, are similar to your feelings with Omen 4. Complete and utter fucking boredom. Like, do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I at least remember my experience with Omen 4. I didn't once think, man, I'm fucking bored, boys. I'm bored. Yawn. Like, I did not feel that at all with Omen 4. Is it a good movie? No. I will say this wholeheartedly. I don't think this is a good movie, really. It's tacky. A lot of the acting's terrible. It's clumsily directed. The writing's fucked. But it's funny. So I can let it slide. I wasn't bored by it. For me, I've stated this on the podcast before, but the worst sin a movie can commit is if it's boring or wastes potentially amazing ideas and concepts. And if it does both, then it's a movie that I do not want any part of in the future. Cough, cough, Omen 2. No. Omen 4? I mean, like, it has ideas and it kind of squanders them, yes, but it's not boring. So that's that's in my good books. It's in my good books.
Okay, this is where we're split, because I think that this has ideas, but a lot less interesting, nuanced ideas that they don't even explore in the first place. Like the whole metaphysical, spiritual angle, and also like the sort of female perspective of it doesn't really change anything. Like, this is the thing, right, is that I was quite interested to see that they're focusing on the mother in this one, Karen, instead of... because we've only seen fathers or paternal figures before being focused on. But the thing that I find is a letdown is that it doesn't change anything having this female perspective here. It's literally just a different body.
Oh yeah. I completely agree with that though. Is that it is interesting, doing the female perspective. It doesn't really say anything or do anything about it. There's like I'm thinking throughout the movie because there's a bit I'm thinking maybe are they trying to have a bit of a critique on I don't know, like a mother's role in the family cycle, and their whole deal with the husband's not listening, or because throughout the movie the husband's always downplaying Delia's behavior, almost in a gaslighting fashion. I'm thinking maybe is the movie trying to say something about that? Nah, not really. It's not saying anything about that. The husband's just a fucking goober.
Actually,
he's just a fucking idiot.
That is a very, very good point. Maybe that is a point of differentiation that I didn't notice because I was just so disimmersed by this film. I'll say this is I'll say this is that it's not done well, but I feel like there is a hint of them trying to make a discussion about that. But anyways, continue. But because in the other films, when it is this male protagonist, then it is that's actually quite in the original anyway. Is that the mother is the first one to sort of be like, oh, I think there's something wrong with this kid, and it's Gregory Peck that is like, no, it's just a kid, it's fine, and sort of dismissive of his wife. So maybe it is to continue and sort of give a little bit more of a focus of this dismissal of. And a little bit of a gaslighty nature of no, you don't know what you're talking about. It's okay. You're looking into this too much. From the perspective of Jean not really believing Karen for a second. Throughout the entire film, there's not a moment where Jean goes, "Oh, maybe Delia is not okay."
Yeah,
and it's almost like Delia uses that to her advantage. Is that it's Dad is my Dad is her rock, where Karen, she sort of fucks off throughout the entire movie and doesn't really care about trying to convince her of anything, because it's no one's going to believe you anyway. Not that it does this well, but maybe it's an angle. Maybe it's some sort of little thread, It
is there. It's there, at least.
I do have a couple of things that I do like about this movie. Mm-hmm. There is one actor in this movie that totally brings it to the screen, I think. Yeah. And it's the priest that comes up around 50 minutes through, that is only in 2 scenes, is in this scene around 50 minutes through that is sort of warning Karen about, the whole sort of Crazy Ralph scenario of the person that seems a bit crazy and is obsessed by the supernatural evil that is amidst, and explaining to our protagonist that they're in danger, but then they're only sort of half listening to them. So this priest is played by an actor named Duncan Fraser, not in anything else that I know of. The guy, I looked into him, very much just like a random character actor. But man, in this movie, he brings it. It was the only real performance other than Delia that I was like, damn, I believe this guy, and he is stealing the screen right now. And he only appears in one other scene to pretty much just be in the background, and that's it. Am I insane for saying this, or did you notice it as well?
I'm trying to remember the scenes of this priest. I don't really remember the scenes of this priest.
Okay, I could be insane, and that is okay. I do totally get it.
Hey, if you found enjoyment in those, man, more power to you, man. That's cool, especially because obviously you had a terrible time watching this. So if you found enjoyment in those scenes that I do not remember, hey, more power to you, my man.
He's this Irish priest that just takes the role completely, just takes it and has fun with it, right? Puts this energy into warning her of the devil is among us sort of thing. It's really, really compelling, I thought.
I genuinely don't remember this, but yeah. Anyways, go on.
Damn, it must have just spoken to me, and I think that I was just extremely cold during the entire thing, so any little bit of warmth really, really resonated.
That's fair.
And then we have another character that comes into the film around at the 50-minute mark, who you touched on before, which is Earl Knight, our private investigator.
Yeah.
who enters the frame, and I think gives a bit of flavor to the movie. That's when I definitely was most enjoying the film when he was around. Because of the wacky places that he takes it. He just takes it. Oh, yeah. He takes us from set piece to set piece, right?
Yeah, it just turns into like there's just a 20-minute interlude of just like this just adventures of a private investigator, just fucking the adventures of Scott Shelby from Heavy Rain, like just fucking just like that kind of shit. Just a nice little detour. It did feel like I was watching a completely fucking different movie. But
completely.
I did enjoy that sequence of like private investigating and all that. I did quite enjoy that, honestly. It was interesting.
Like his first sort of solo scene, he hires 2 clowns to distract nuns so that he can like go through.
Oh my fucking god! And then like the thumbs up that they give each other.
I know
legit sitcom moment, man.
I was like,
god.
This is the same franchise as The Omen, as the 1970s classic The Omen. Weird.
You could just show, like, just out of context, you could just show someone that scene, you'd think that they're watching, like, some Adam Sandler comedy or something. You'd think that we're watching, like, Billy Madison or something.
And then it's followed by 2 more ridiculous set pieces that, would you like to, would you like to talk to me about your favorite one of the following 2?
Hang on, I'm trying to, okay, So his death scene, and the lead up to the death scene.
Okay, cool.
Is fucking ridiculous. Okay, so one, the death scene itself is fucking hilarious, getting slammed by a wrecking ball. I genuinely did not see that coming, so that was funny. But the lead up to it, even more funnier, because out of nowhere, Mance just starts having a panic attack, running through the streets, and then there's this weird scene of these choir members who are then just like drenched in like black oil and like looking like ghastly ghouls, like chanting to him. But the way it's presented, I feel like I'm watching a fucking music video or watching a bloody musical. The way it's presented is so bizarre. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I didn't even react. Like I was so taken aback. You know what scene I'm talking about, right?
I definitely know the scene that you were talking about, because the Omen franchise are known for these choirs, right? These like menacing choirs. Well, we've never seen where these choirs are coming from, and it looks like that they're coming from a gang of freaking Ghosts of Christmas Hellstorm or some shit.
Yeah, it feels like I'm watching Christmas Carol. What the fuck?
Yeah, that just fucking like rush him in an alleyway to like directly all the like is it all we see it being freaking performed in front of us. What?
Oh my god, it was unbelievable.
And then you even went past that he sees a freaking alien fish baby Jesus in the window before this.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
So strange.
Oh
and then
God.
and then this wrecking ball that just like swings at him in ultra slow-mo. And
oh my god.
And what's a bit weird is that so a lot of these deaths in the entire franchise are supposed to be these Rube Goldberg machines of like random coincidental things happening that are almost like ultra bad luck. But this is just
very prototype Final Destination type stuff.
This is just the wrecking ball one is just a ghost operating the wrecking ball operator.
Oh yeah, literally.
That's all that it is. And then there's probably 10 seconds of slow-mo of the wrecking ball going towards Earl Knight, and then it like cuts to his eyes of him looking at it, and it's in real time, and you can see how it's like not slowing down, but then it's like that he looks at it and it's coming at him in slow motion, like the whole world is in normal speed, but then the wrecking ball itself is slowed down.
The wrecking ball was obviously manufactured by Zack Snyder, obviously,
and then the way that it like speeds up time again to show us the impact on his head and just the freaking like watermelon exploding, so funny. What an end for this man.
Oh my god, yeah, what an end. Do you want to touch on the other scene that you wanted to talk about?
I would love to touch on the rattlesnake church scene.
My god.
Where we end up here because the nun at the start of the film, who sort of is the first person to think that there's something not right with Delia, so she seemed to have left the church and the nunnery, well, not left the church, gone to a different church, a church of rattlesnakes, and like, now has a shaven head and is sort of being shown to us to be this really kooky, almost hippie, like sort of voice of God.
Almost like a religious zealot this time around, instead of like an actual like figure of God type thing.
Yeah, totally.
Like an official figure of God. You can be a zealot and still, be with God. I'm not saying anything, guys.
And she's holding these rattlesnakes in front of everyone, and you're just like, how did we end up here? How do we freaking end up here now? And then all the rattlesnakes go nuts and start biting everyone. I reckon 100% that those were actual rattlesnakes biting people. The poor there were people getting bitten by rattlesnakes on the set of this movie. Somebody got bitten by a snake for the Omen IV, the Awakening.
The budget, what a fucking flex that would be. Yes, I got bitten by a rattlesnake for the Omen IV. Yeah, my life has peaked at this point. But also, it's not the rattlesnake's fault. It's Earl Knight and the goddamn nun's fault, because he just gives her the photo and then she just immediately freaks the fuck out. It's like, what did you expect to happen, Earl? You should have just waited for her to get out of the fucking rattlesnake bathtub or whatever the hell it was. Like, I'm watching this, I'm like, he's gonna give her the photo, and she's gonna freak the fuck out. Why the fuck would you not wait for her to get out of the goddamn glass box first, you idiot?
Why do anything that could freak out a human being when they're in a box of rattlesnakes? You wait until they're past this moment. They're in a pretty vulnerable spot right now.
The snakes did nothing wrong, is all I'm saying. The snakes did nothing wrong. It was not their fault, all right? They were just acting out of fear, okay? Leave them alone.
And I do love how this franchise will introduce new characters, take them on a little bit of a journey, and then just kill them, and then it's all for nothing anyway.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
and then, I thought that there's no moment in this, right, where like, Karen gets any of the intel that Earl Knight actually discovers, right?
No.
And then
no. She gets because like he mails her some of the intel that he finds, which is not really that much. It's literally just confirming her suspicions of like Delia being like a product of the devil or the product of Satan. He like sends it to her through the mail, and then she's like opening it up when she's at the church, I'm pretty sure. But again, it's just confirming what she already knows pretty much.
Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't really matter, because we have the doctor that just like, after getting stabbed in the hand, just explains it all to her anyway, so it's okay.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I'd stab the doctor in the fucking hand as well, the way he was kissing her on the cheek and all that. Very invasive, Doc. I immediately was like, okay, there's something up with him. Who the fuck is kissing a married woman like that? That's a bit odd, mate. I don't care if you're the family doctor, bit odd, mate.
From the start, I was thinking, is this doctor, does he have some other relation to these people? But no, it's just that he's a doctor and a disciple of the Antichrist, who also loves Delia.
Yes.
Very freaking weird. And then it takes us to like, so I like seeing Karen go a little bit nuts. I'm so surprised that Karen didn't realize earlier that her son was the Antichrist, because there's this reveal at the end of the 666 mark, and it's
on the fucking palm of his hand.
Yeah, on the palm of his hand that makes up his entire palm. It's not a little hidden detail. It's not under his hair or anything like that. How the fuck did she not notice this?
How does the husband not notice this? Or to be fair, the husband's a fucking idiot, so he probably just saw it and he was like, okay, that's cool.
Also, that there's this scene that then, like, the climax is Karen pointing a gun at her baby.
Oh my god, I was legit in hysterics. I was really hoping that we'd get like a full widescreen shot of just her like with the gun to the baby's head. If I saw that full shot instead of it being like cut up and all that, I would have given this a 10 out of 10. I would have been like, because obviously we know that these movies are not above child murder or at least threatening children. We know that these movies are not above that. Omen 3, baby massacre. Come on, like, dude, oh my god. But the idea of Karen just holding a revolver to this infant's head, so fucking funny to me. What does that say about me?
I'm glad that there wasn't the wide shot, because all that I needed to find it hilarious was the cut between the barrel of a gun and then this baby, like this actual baby's head just looking all innocent. And I'm like, oh my god, there's no tact to this movie. No tact at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And then she ends up pulling the gun on herself. And then the movie does the same thing that so many of these Omen movies do, that it just ends. It ends so quickly. Yeah. It's like
it just stops.
Yeah. The gunshot off screen, kills herself, and then right away cuts to funeral with good old Jean and Delia walking off into the distance. So everyone's okay. Yes. And Omen 5? Question mark.
Oh, if only. Oh, I wish.
So, and I could not wait to freaking close this tab and end Omen 4 as this happened. And we're left off with one more shot of an upside down cross that this movie just loves showing us.
Yeah, this movie is lacking in a lot of things. Subtlety is definitely on the top spot in lacking.
It is for people that, tune in at the 60-minute mark and they're like, oh, what's this movie about? Oh, an upside down cross? Oh, probably some sort of antichrist thing going on.
Yeah, I could definitely see my mum stumbling upon this on TV and being like, "Oh, what is this? I'll watch this" type meme. So you know what? Yeah, maybe that says something about me as well. But Omen 4 kind of epic.
Okay. So I want to give my closing thoughts so we can move on from this. We spoke about it a lot longer than I thought we actually would.
Were you expecting differing opinions, Rhys?
I was expecting us to be on the same page and to be done with this in 20 minutes, and then us talk about other random shit for maybe 20 minutes to fill up the episode, to be honest. I had in my mind already recommendations of other films to tell people to watch instead of this. But anyway, to close off Omen 4, Omen 4, it got better, but still terrible, and I hated my time with this. I don't think I ever need to, want to, or will watch this movie ever again, especially when there's so many barriers to watch this film. I feel extremely sorry to the individual that spends $17 to rent this on Amazon or Apple TV.
Oh yeah, no, don't buy this at all. I will say, watch Omen 3 instead, but if you want a little bit more of evil children comedy, then give Omen 4 a shot. Don't be like Rhys. Give it a shot.
Maybe smoke a couple of joints or drink a couple of beers, and it could be fun, potentially. But maybe this got me hopeful for the remake, because I thought maybe the Omen films, their quality skips generations, First one's good, second one's bad, third one's good, fourth one's bad. Maybe this remake is going to be okay, and we'll catch you next week. And don't forget to check out our Facebook page at MarathonMeOfficial, all one word, and our Instagram, MarathonMe_official, to keep up to date on the podcast. And hey, if you want to get into contact with us, email us at marathonmepodc, yes, the letter C, @gmail.com. Like podcast without the arse.